Jeffrey Epstein's tangled web keeps getting creepier and more chilling the more I dig. I have been going through more of the filings in the DOJ dump, and clearly, what you see next to me is a bunch of photos. I'll go through those in a minute, but I am just shocked at some of the things that I am learning. And now, one of the things that I have learned is how Ghislaine managed to escape, flee to New Hampshire, and how she was subsequently arrested. I mean, we all knew she was hiding out in Bradford, New Hampshire. The FBI arrested her. But I think that what many of us did not realize, and now that these newly released court docs have come out, she bought this house much earlier in all cash. And I'm talking millions of dollars. So hold on tight. We'll get to that. We'll get to some more of the transcript stuff and some of these photos. Now, these photos, somebody, I don't know who, made this Epstein files browser, which basically allows one to click on a certain public figure's name. Obviously, what you see here is Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these photos you may or may not have seen. And these were all part of his, they were either in his home, they were on a hard drive, wherever. These photos belonged to Jeffrey Epstein. So again, you can click on the top here, any name you want, and Bill Clinton, whatever, and a bunch of photos will come up that all belong to Epstein. So this is a great tool if you're interested. So I will drop this in the episode notes of this video, and you can just go nuts. Very, very disturbing. I mean, this picture has already come out a lot. Bill Clinton and some mystery blonde sitting on his lap, but really seems like no one cares because it's not President Trump. And that's something I've noticed. It's kind of like, wow, there's a lot of Bill Clinton in these photos. Well, it's not Trump, so no one cares. Something else that I want to point out, the Deputy AG Todd Blanche interview with Ghislaine Maxwell from July of 2025. I've been going through a lot of the transcript, and Ghislaine, she kind of has to be truthful because anything that she says can be held against her if there are more charges ever brought or charges against someone else where she might be a witness or whatever. So she really should not lie. But I find just some of what she says with her history with Epstein to be just so strange, I guess. And I'm talking about when she claims she had no romantic relationship with him whatsoever. He had other girlfriends and she was just working for him. I mean, her dad, Robert Maxwell, was very, very wealthy. He owned a publication, clearly. I discussed this on a previous video if you didn't see. And he had a yacht. He had a private plane. He was reportedly Israeli intelligence. I mean, a really well-connected guy. So Ghislaine was highly educated. She grew up very wealthy, but she says that she didn't grow up with a lot of materials. My dad really liked his plane and his yacht, but that's really all we had. I mean, come on. She was a socialite. Now, I do not want to diminish the role of EA or executive assistant at all, because I know that when a powerful man or a connected man needs an EA, they have to be educated. They have to be just, it's an important job. Ghislaine essentially tells Blanche that she had this role of what I would call, she doesn't say the words, but I would definitely call it an executive assistant. She managed all of his appointments to a degree, his homes. He had multiple homes, of course. And at one point, she even talks about taking care of his mother per his request. And this is before they were romantic, according to her. So it seemed like she was running a lot of his errands. And I found it hard to believe that they weren't in a romantic relationship. And she has the background that she has. And that was it. Yep, I was working for him. I was doing XYZ. He was paying me. And nothing romantic. Not until, this alleged date. That's just my opinion. I don't know why she would lie about it. I really don't. It wouldn't be a good look for her anyway, because it would be, it would cause a lot of trouble. but it just, right, it just seems a little odd, but maybe not. So drop your thoughts in the comments. I mean, let me see. This is, you know what I can do? I believe I can also put a link to the transcript in the episode notes if you want to check that out. Here is the transcript. And look, there's, I had come across a section with Lynn Forrester, who's a big name in finance. And Ghislaine says that Jeffrey Epstein helped her, but if you ask her, she'd deny it. I found that to be super interesting. When Blanche asks Ghislaine about Jess Staley, who's a former JP Morgan guy, if you follow the Epstein stuff and the emails that were released years ago, and I think this was for a deposition or something with the U.S. Virgin Island case, why they were released, Staley and Epstein had these exchanges where Staley said something like, say hi to Snow White for me. And Epstein was like, who do you want next? And he said something like Beauty and the Beast, just a really weird exchange. So when Maxwell was asked by Blanche, she was asked by Blanche, did Epstein have a relationship with Jess Staley? Her immediate response or answer was kind of a question like, do you mean like a romantic or sexual relationship? No, they were friends. I mean, I found that to be weird. Like no one was asking if they were romantic. He's talking about relationships that Epstein had. And she's like, no, they weren't romantic. Okay, well, relax. I found that to be a weird, just a weird kind of Freudian answer. Maybe that's just me. Again, she can't or she shouldn't lie. Of course, we know that she does have a history with perjury. If you were not aware, she was charged with perjury after previously lying. So anyway, little things in this manuscript, transcript. I will put a link in the episode notes. You can read it yourself. It's very long, but it's very interesting and creepy. So I want to go back to what I mentioned at the beginning, Ghislaine's escape to New Hampshire. And I am currently in New Hampshire. And when it was first reported that she was arrested in New Hampshire, the media, misspoke and said she was arrested in Bedford, New Hampshire. That's where I grew up. So that definitely did not happen. I was like, wait, what? It was Bradford, New Hampshire. Now, what is so interesting about this, about her kind of being this fugitive, is that she bought this house prosecutors are surmising, but what could have been almost a year before she was caught. Now, she paid reportedly a few $1 million cash to the real estate broker for this home. And she said she was a journalist who just liked her privacy. She told the real estate agent that her name was Janet Marshall, and she spoke in a British accent per the real estate agent. And again, per the court records, when the FBI finally pulled up to arrest her, they said that the house was very secluded, way off the road, and actually had private security outside, which I find to be wild. You're in this smaller town in New Hampshire, and you've got private security. Okay. Well, the FBI is knocking on the door, and they said they actually saw her try to flee to another room when she was already inside the house. And when they finally got in, which they had to just break down the door because she wasn't answering, they found a cell phone wrapped in tinfoil because she was trying to evade capture by blocking her signal, I guess, which, I mean, tinfoil, I feel like that's kind of ghetto. You could get a Faraday bag, if anything. We heard that a lot in the Luigi Mangione trial. But what I also did not know, and I guess, to most people, maybe it means nothing, but to me, because I grew up here and I know how again, what goes on when things are just rattled in small towns. But Ghislaine was brought to the Merrimack, New Hampshire County Jail before she was initially transported back to New York. And literally, Merrimack is 10 minutes from me. It is also a small town with a very small jail, not these crazy career criminals or anyone of Ghislaine's stature. But I was like, wait, I had no idea. They literally held her in a Merrimack County jail. And this is all per court records, per court filings, uh, just crazy, crazy stuff here. But yeah, that is just what I wanted to talk about today in terms of what I was combing through over the weekend. And listen, I will be going through a lot more because this is an ongoing project for me. I mean, it is tough, I feel like, because when I initially was very, very invested in the Epstein case and these files, I mean, this was years ago that I was really diving in. And it's not that I'm not interested now, but like I said, the whole show us the list. I mean, these photos, like going back to the photos, is this not the quote unquote list that everybody is asking for? Because we know there's no tangible list. Um, there's no tangible list that it's going to say, hey, these are all the men and women that hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. No, they are going to be through photos and court docs, but a lot of them are redacted, of course. But then on the flip side, just because you're pictured in photos and you knew Jeffrey Epstein, that doesn't mean that you abused minors or you abused young girls. So will we ever know the truth? I don't know. Jeffrey Epstein's survivors or victims have come out and said, well, we're going to make our own list. They said this months ago. Nothing has come out there either. And I'm not blaming them. I'm absolutely not blaming them. It's really scary to think about these survivors, these women putting names out there. I don't blame them. I mean, it's terrifying. But again, they said this and we haven't seen anything. Additionally, it's been super frustrating to know that the DOJ is just dumping things in these filings, such as a fake letter from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar, the fake simulation of his suicide. I mean, it's just dumb to me. It's like, why not just take the extra step to remove some of the unverified stuff? That's all. I mean, is it so much to ask? Apparently it is. And maybe that's strategic, right? Maybe because when we get the next terabyte of evidence or filings, something comes out about President Trump and they're like, well, it's fake. We told you it wasn't all verified and some of it was fake. Okay, maybe. But anyway, that's all I have for this Epstein podcast today. I'm Lauren Conlon. Thank you for watching Los Angeles Magazine, our YouTube channel. If you're new, we'd love for you to like or